Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Wow, man. Just another brutal new way to lose type of loss for the New York Mets, as they have now dropped 4 straight games. They had a 4-game winning streak entering this homestand, or I guess rather made it 4 with the win against the Diamondbacks in the opening game of that series. And they have now dropped 4 consecutive games. And it just seems like each one of them has their own unique level of pain and disappointment. And that is no different for Saturday's loss, as Kodai Senga is absolutely bombed in the early going here. He looked pretty sharp in the first inning, but I mean, maybe a bad omen. The very first hitter of the game, a broken bat single to left field for Butler. Carson Bench letting it bounce on the heel of his glove and turn it into a 2-base hit. Fortunately, nothing came around to score on that inning, but regardless, maybe a bad omen, because things just got completely out of control from there. The second inning, just brutal. Back-to-back walks to the 8 and 9 hitters with Wilson, and of course, who else but Jeff McNeil already aboard with base hits in that inning. A bases loaded walk from Senga, followed by a base hit to make it 2-0 after Bo Bichette had initially put the Mets up 1-0 in the first inning with an RBI knock. Him was who else but Shea Langeliers, who just absolutely destroys the Mets. More on him later. And then the 2-run homer to Tyler Soderstrom. But the pain wasn't over there, because in back-to-back innings, it is Jacob Wilson and Jeff McNeil getting base hits back-to-back of each other. And that set the table up for former Met farmhand Carlos Cortez, who the Mets never gave a chance. Simply let him walk essentially in minor league free agency, go sign a deal with the Athletics. All he's done is had an OPS over 900 in a little over 100 at-bats since joining the Athletics roster. And he hits a 3-run bomb. And at that point, you know, it felt like it couldn't possibly get more painful. Oh, but it did. The Mets always find a way to make it even worse, as they start mounting a little bit of a comeback. 5th inning, Bo Bichette with 2 outs after Francisco Lindor had a base hit. His first homer as a New York Met. Cut into the lead. Make it 7-3. Still a little far off. It's probably not going to happen. But all right, I'll keep the game on in the background. Next inning, 6th inning, Francisco Alvarez with a solo shot after review to make it 7-4. Okay, things are getting interesting now. Mets get a sac fly from Brett Beatty that same inning. It's 7-6 now. Okay, I'm bought back in. Make it 7-5 at that point. But I'm bought back in. 2-run game. Let's see what they could do. This could be a comeback win, a signature type of moment for this team that could jumpstart them and get them going again. And then I'm thinking all kinds of crazy stuff when Jorge Polanco hits a homer for the 3rd straight inning for the Mets to lead off the 7th and make it a 1-run game. The A's have done almost nothing against the Mets bullpen, which to that point had been brilliant. Braziban came on for Senga in the 2nd with 1 out. In the 3rd with 1 out. Pitches 2 2/3 scoreless innings of relief, including 3 strikeouts. The Mets go to Brooks Raley in the 6th. Maybe a little questionable at that point where the score was, but could have proven to be important had they mounted this comeback all the way. They even go to Craig Kimbrell for his Mets debut 24 hours after getting called up to the big league team, and he gives you a scoreless 7th inning, including 2 strikeouts in that one. The things are starting to turn. And then we go to the 8th. Luke Weaver gets the first guy on a ground out that he's able to take over to first base himself, toss it over to Vientos. A 1-out single to who else? Carlos Cortez. Former Mets coming back to haunt them in this series, no doubt about that. He gets the strikeout of Butler, issues the 2-out walk to Kurtz. The base hit, of course, to Shea Langeliers. That made it 8-6. And at that point, I thought it was over. But the next batter just made it even worse and definitely put this one out of reach. Tyler Soderstrom, his 2nd round tripper of the game. This one of the 3-run variety. And the Mets lose this game by a final of 11-6. They would not score another run from there. It's unbelievable sometimes what this team can put you through. I mean, I've talked about it before, the tease, the fake comeback. This one felt pretty real. The A's rather were on their heels. The Mets pitching had stabilized. The bullpen had done a really good job to that point. Luke Weaver, outside of that appearance against the Diamondbacks the other day, had been excellent. And he can't get the job done, can't put the inning to bed. All 4 of those runs coming with 2 outs. And again, the former Mets right in the middle of this one, because why wouldn't it be as painful as possible as a New York Mets fan? What's up, guys? I'm Tony Metro. Welcome to the stream. Daily Mets content, post-game stream after every Mets game here on YouTube. We're also broadcasting on Twitter here today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It's a tough one. It really sucks. If you are watching on Twitter, you could head over to YouTube and join the chat. You guys could also call into the Discord if you want to voice how you're feeling about this team right now. Link to Discord is in the description of this video down below. I'll start taking calls if I see anybody pop in there. But you could also follow me on all the other platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And for those of you on YouTube, you can follow me on Twitter and vice versa. With those on YouTube, you could head over to my Twitter, or however I'm supposed to say it. I mean, I can't believe this, man. A new level of pain. Every freaking loss. Let's go to the chat here on YouTube. Miguel Rosado, the Schmetza, Rollerama Mets. Mets are not a good team. All right. Jimmy James C. Mets are a joke. I'm done watching until they are put on a winning streak together. Man, I'm not going to stop watching, but this sucks. This sucks. This feels like 2025 all over again, man. This feels exactly like how last year felt. One thing starts going well, the other thing can't get the job done. That thing starts doing its job, something else goes wrong. It's like that meme on the internet where you turn one button on, the other 2 buttons turn off. You turn that one on, and then the other 2 turn off. It's like you can't get a good starting pitching performance and enough hitting. Well, today you didn't get a good starting pitching performance, but you got enough hitting toward the end there. Then your relief ended up blowing it despite being really solid in those first few innings out of the bullpen. It's just unbelievable how this team can't just put together a full good game up and down the roster. I'm going to put this out on Twitter. I'm not sure if we're actually broadcasting, but let me just put this out there real quick. Talk amongst yourselves in the chat. We're talking about it live. Come join. Post. All right. I think we're good there now. It's terrible, Jimmy. I'm just at a loss for words. Biscuits Chooch says, Tony, you legend. Congrats, 6K subs. Hey, thank you, Chooch. Thank you guys for subbing. We just hit 6K, as Chooch mentioned, so I really appreciate that, guys. We picked this up about this time last year, and I, at the time, had like maybe 1,200 subscribers from when I did this years ago. Hadn't touched it in like 3+ years, and we picked it back up, and it's been just totally going crazy. So that's credit to all you guys for hitting that sub, leaving likes, leaving comments, sharing this with your friends and family, which, speaking of which, leave a like on this video. Go ahead and do that now. I appreciate it very much. But we are broadcasting on Twitter as well. So if you want to join on YouTube and enter the chat, would love to hear from you guys. And again, Discord is open and we are taking phone calls. So if you guys want to sound off, we're going to go through the game. We're going to go through your guys' chat and we're going to listen to some sound from the manager and from the rest of the team on what is just another awful loss for the Mets. Back-to-back series losses. They have a confirmed losing homestand. They would have had to win today and tomorrow just to salvage a 500 record here on these 6 games at Citi Field. They have just looked awful. I mean, you know, today it's the starting pitching. Senga has an absolute clunker of a performance. Then it looked like the bats were going to be no-shows. They end up putting up a couple of runs there in the middle innings, 5 runs, to make it 7-5. They end up falling short, though, because the bullpen is the one that finally spits the bit after being excellent taking over for Senga. And that's where I go back to the idea, why can't this team just put together a full good game up and down the roster? This feels exactly like how 2025 felt, where you would get good enough hitting, but your starter would only give you 3 innings and give up 5 runs, or your bullpen would give up a handful of runs late in games. And this is just a carbon copy of exactly how I felt down the stretch of 2025. And I thought it was going to change with all the roster turnover, with all the new personnel. But it feels exactly the same as last year right now. Ray, and the beat goes on, Tony. Ajita Deluxe. That's the comment of the chat so far. Ajita Deluxe, the beat goes on, Tony. I love it, Ray. Very nicely said. Jimmy James, Manny isn't a good manager, and Stearns is not a GM. Tried to get too cute with this offseason. Sorry, I lost the chat. Let me get back to it. With putting this lineup together, my doubts in the offseason have been verified. Well, I'm not writing the Mets off. So don't think I'm sitting here saying that this team is dead in the water and there's no chance of them still becoming a good team. I do believe that they can. But the early results are not very encouraging. The early results are quite alarming, in fact, that they have played as poorly as they have at Citi Field. And I don't want to hear this weather. I don't want to hear it was cold. The conditions looked fine there today. I don't know what the temp was, but it was sunny out the entire game. But regardless, the other team is playing in the exact same temperature and conditions as you are, and the Athletics and Diamondbacks have had zero issues hitting laser beam line drives all over the field this week so far in Flushing. So I don't want to hear that, okay? That's just not a valid excuse in my opinion. Crimson says, wonder what excuses Mendoza and Stearns are going to say in the post-game interview. The pitching needs to be addressed fast because what I saw was the team didn't want to win this game and just bad defense. Defensively, I don't know. I mean, Alvarez had a ball pop out of his mitt. That was frustrating. It advanced the runner at one point. You had Benj boot that ball on the very first hitter of the game with Butler getting that single that he was able to get to second on. But pitching obviously sucked today. And it's really not even the full pitching staff. It's Senga and Luke Weaver. And Weaver's been really good in the past outside of that appearance against Arizona in the previous series. And Senga had been great in his first 2 starts of the year, but was roughed up today. So I'm not trying to take away from what you're saying. I'm just saying that it's more alarming that on any given day, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Whether it is the bats not hitting enough, whether it is the starter having a bad performance like Senga today, or like Peterson his last 2 turns out, or it is the bullpen imploding in the end. And it's no guarantee that the Mets end up finishing the comeback, even if Weaver does have a clean 8th inning. They still needed to put 2 more runs across, and that has been like pulling teeth over the last week at Citi Field so far. So there's no guarantee that the Mets bats were going to put them over the edge and score 2 more runs to win this game. But in a spot where it looked like the lineup was finally starting to come out of its shell, it was finally starting to look like the one we were hoping it was going to be, like the one we saw in San Francisco, it all comes to a screeching halt. The momentum, the air is completely let out of the balloon with that horrifying 8th inning where Weaver just could not put it away. A 3-2 walk to Kurtz to put first and second. Like I said, Shea Langoliers, my goodness, I never want to see his face again. I appreciate his dad as a Mets fan, and he is named after Shea Stadium, but I am sick and tired of facing that dude. Absolutely kills the Mets every opportunity he gets. You knew he was going to get a base hit there. He did, and that leads to the 3-run homer from Soderstrom. Second bomb of the day. You needed a scoreless frame there to give the Mets a chance. All the momentum out the window after that 8th inning, obviously. So that's what's alarming to me. It's not one specific thing. It's that on any given day, it seems like somebody or one group of this team, whether it's the bats, the relievers, or the starters, fall short and don't do their job, and it ruins it for the rest of the team. More often than not so far, and lately, it's been the bats. I think we can all agree with that. But on the one day, call it 3 innings if you want, because let's be honest, innings 1 through 4 in the Mets lineup look terrible once again, just like they have the rest of this series. But innings 5, 6, and 7, 3 straight homers, Bichette, Alvarez, Polanco, they put a couple base hits together there. They got the sac fly from Beatty. You thought, okay, it's starting to look good for once. And then it all just came crumbling down, crashing all over them. Really tough, man. Let's see. Jimmy James, I already got you. Sorry. Crimson Angel, wonder what excuses. I already got you. I'm sorry, man. Ricardo, sorry we had to witness this debacle. The best thing is tomorrow's another day. That's a good attitude to have, Ricardo. I'll give you that, man. There is another game to play tomorrow and another on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And if I may just say for a second here, the MLB schedule makers should be ashamed of themselves. And this is not an excuse because the Mets have played so poorly, okay? It's not because of the schedule, but it has not made it easy on them either. To play your first 3 games at Citi Field, then go to St. Louis with no off day on Monday, go to San Francisco, come back after that 4-game series, have 6 games here at Citi Field with Arizona and Oakland. And then after Sunday, so after tomorrow's game, the Mets fly out back to the West Coast to take on the Dodgers for 3 games. And it only gets worse because Wednesday's game is a night game on ESPN, meaning that the Mets will not get out of Los Angeles probably until, I would say, midnight, and have to fly to Chicago for a 3-game series over the next weekend. I mean, that's just, I don't know what they're thinking there, but that sucks. Either way, the Mets have not played good baseball. I am not blaming the schedule whatsoever, but it has definitely not helped them at all. Let's see. Rick's Mix says, yeah, it looks like crap, but it's April 11th. Y'all be patient. Fair enough. I'm going to try my best. I wish there was something I could hold on to and say, well, you know, at least we can look at this and feel really good about it. There's just not a whole lot. I felt that way about the starting rotation. I still do because McLean has looked really good. Clay Holmes has looked really good. I think the best is yet to come with Freddie Peralta. And I will say, I think this was more of an outlier for Kodai Senga. I think he's closer to what we saw in his first 2 starts than what we just saw from him this afternoon. But obviously there's concern with David Peterson. And what if I'm wrong about Senga and he does start issuing more starts like this, giving up more home runs like he did today? So I don't know what it is that I can really hang my hat on about this team and say that a couple of little other things just need to kind of come together and I'll feel like they're going to be a playoff team, right? It is early. There's still time for everything to come together and to figure it out, but there's just not a ton of stuff that I can latch onto and feel like, okay, that's the identity of this team. We just need a few other little things to round into form, and we'll be clicking on all cylinders. That's what's most alarming about this start for the Mets. Ricardo, why did he leave Weaver in so long being erratic as he was? I mean, the 8th inning was his. Weaver's supposed to be the 8th inning guy. He's supposed to be the setup guy in a 1-run game at home. That's where you go. And then you hope that you tied or took the lead and you go to Devin Williams for the 9th inning for the save. So I'm not even mad at Carlos Mendoza. Yeah, Weaver gave up a base hit and a walk. He was facing the top of the lineup. Unfortunately, the base hit came from Clark there in the 8th inning, bottom of the order. Mets seem to have big issues getting the bottom of the order out for opponents. Their bottom of the lineup can't seem to do anything, though. But I would have kept Weaver in. I have no issue with him keeping Weaver in. Weaver just didn't get the job done. Should have attacked Kurtz a little more than he did. Instead, he gives him the walk. Langeliers does what he does and absolutely destroys the Mets. Just incredibly frustrating. Victor says, I love this channel. You really know your stuff. Hey, thank you, Victor. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Guys, leave a like on this video if you're watching on YouTube. Appreciate it very much. Retweet if you're watching on Twitter. Send it out to as many Mets fans as we can. I want to hear from you guys. Armand is amazing. Says this game is on Senga and Weaver. Without a doubt, man. I couldn't find a picture of Luke Weaver in a City Connect uniform hanging his head or anything. Otherwise, he would have been right up here on the thumbnail with Kodai Senga. So it's on those two, man. And that's why when people want to say, oh, the pitching sucks or the pitching is the issue, it's really today just 2 individual performances, Kodai Senga and Luke Weaver not getting the job done because Huascar Brazoban was brilliant. You got a scoreless inning from Brooks Raley. What's new? And then you even got a scoreless inning from Craig Kimbrell in the 7th. The bats finally started to look alive there in those middle innings, the 5th through the 7th, where they hit 3 home runs in those 3 innings. But unfortunately, like I said, one thing starts turning on for this team, and then something else completely goes to crap. And that's what's most alarming to me right now. But Armand, I completely agree with you. Crimson says, Tony, this Mets team so far is playing like a minor league team. They have no chemistry, and the bad play just shows more than good plays, just bad games. Can't keep a lead either. Can't keep a lead. And you know what's really annoying about this one, guys? If it were reversed and the Mets had gotten out to the 7-1 lead that the Athletics got out to today, number one, the Mets would never mount that comeback. But number two, if the Athletics started creeping back into the game the way that the Mets did, getting it to a 1-run game the way the Mets did today, you know, with 2 outs there in the 8th, that the Mets would not come through with an RBI single the way that Shea Langeliers did, or come through with a 3-run bomb to put this one to bed the way that Tyler Soderstrom did for his 2nd homer of the game. You know exactly what I'm saying, right? If the Mets somehow were able to even build a 7-1 lead, if they allowed the opponent to start gaining momentum inning over inning and making this a one-run game, you know that the Mets would not pat on the way that Oakland did and run away with this one in the end. And that's what's so frustrating. Mets had a chance there. Mark Vientos with 2 outs in the 7th inning. And he ends up just hitting a dinky little fly ball. Very frustrating. Sorry, it was actually a fly out from Vientos in the 5th inning. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anthony Nazarello, audio's messed up. No, not for you. Everyone seems to say it's okay right now. Audio's fine on Crimson's end. Cool. Red Horse Adventures, Mendoza didn't wear the glasses. He doesn't want to watch this shit either. I very nearly had to break my glasses. I did not, but that's how I was feeling about this one. Hold on. I got to get back up here to the chat. Kabasan, don't know why I always expect better of them. That's probably the truest statement I've ever heard as a Mets fan. Don't know why I always expect better at them. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, call me a Mets fan, right? Stanley Tony says Mendoza on the hot seat. Not yet. Mendoza is definitely not on the hot seat yet, but I've said it, and I've said it since last year. If they didn't get off to a good start, that he is definitely in line to potentially lose his job. And the way I'm looking at it right now, the Mets are 7-8, and I don't think it's fair to can him or make massive changes to the roster at this point because it's only been 15 games. There's been a lot of things I don't like that I've seen so far, but I would give Mendy at least through May. And then maybe you start having that conversation. But right now, no, it's too early to fire Carlos Mendoza. But what is most alarming is just how lethargic, just how defeated that this team looks. And it's eerily reminiscent of what we saw in 2025 in the second half last year. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, I thought with the massive turnover of this roster, I thought with all the new faces and personnel that that would not be the case in 2026, but it looks very similar. And who else do you blame at that point but the manager, but the guy on the top step? So I'm willing to give Mendy at least through May, but if we are doing this teeter-totter between 500 still, by that point, almost probably 2 full months into the season, I guess that would be, I would not have a problem with changing the manager. So, Eduardo Christian Aquan, I'm still positive on this game. Past games, lacking dogs unhidden, but at least some of our bats are alive today. Issues, Mets are so unlucky. Sang and Weaver imploded. Even our bats are alive. Edward, I want to know what you think was unlucky about this game because I don't necessarily disagree. I think that the Mets have definitely not seen the ball bounce their way a lot over the last couple losses, but they're not the main reasons why I think the Mets have lost most of these games this year. So I want to hear what you thought today was unlucky for the Mets, but I hear what you mean. All Even podcast with Barry. Go check out Barry on the All Even podcast, guys. Does an amazing job. Go check out his channel and all of his stuff. He's on Instagram and on Twitter as well. Really great guy, and had me as a guest on their panel a couple weeks ago. Really love Barry. Great dude. Stanley Kimbrel was good. Yeah, Kimbrel wasn't bad. Let's see. He pitched the 7th inning, and I believe he was facing the middle of their order. He got Soderstrom to fly out, which is pretty impressive considering he had 2 bombs in this game off Senga and Weaver. Struck out Jacob Wilson. Gave the base hit to Jeff McNeil because, of course, Jeff McNeil had a 3-hit game. I looked this up. Jeff McNeil had 8 3-hit games over the last 2 seasons for the Mets. In 251 games, he had 8 3-hit games from 2024 through 2025. And, of course, today, coming back against the Mets in an Oakland Athletics uniform, West Sacramento, Las Vegas, whatever you want to call them, Athletics has a 3-hit game against the Mets because, of course, how can we make it as painful for Mets fans as possible? Blast Radius, another brutal loss. Agreed. Jimmy James, they need an early and substantial lead. Do not put pressure on the pitching staff. They don't, man. They don't. I mean, this Lopez guy came in with a horrifying line after his first 2 starts, and he looked great. And Kotze probably left him in too long and very questionably left them in after the Francisco Alvarez homer in the 6th. But Mets didn't do a whole lot of damage against that guy. Mets are now 0-4 against left-handed starting pitchers this year. I don't know what the deal is. Mark Vientos, by the way, scorching hot road trip. He has come back. I believe that now makes him 0-for-15 on this homestand. Has not gotten a hit at Citi Field. We need a saging. I don't know what else to say, man. Edward Christian Aqua says, positive note, Bo is at least looking good as of late. Polanco had his homer, and Alvarez is a constant in the lineup. Kimbrel also looks decent. It's bad, but it's better than scoring 1 or 2. Yeah, I'll give you that, man. I appreciate you trying to, point out some positives, and I'll give you that. Alvarez ripped a couple balls, even the 2 lineouts he had. His first at-bat to left field, his second at-bat to center field. Then he had the home run. Then he drew a walk, I believe. Had a base hit through the left side of the infield there with the Mets trying to threaten. That was the most frustrating part of this game. Was in the 7th inning after the leadoff homer from Polanco to make it 7-6. Bo Bichette draws the walk. Vientos ends up striking out after him. Then Alvarez gets the base hit to make it 1st and 2nd with 1 out. Bench flies out to left field. And then Marcus Semien flies out to left field. And it felt like the Mets could have really taken a stranglehold on this game. You could feel the A's starting to slip, starting to let go of the rope as it's now 7-6. The Mets have scored in 3 straight innings, homers in 3 straight innings. They haven't done anything since the 3rd. And if the Mets could have even just tied the game there, I think they would have had a really good chance of eventually going on to win it. But we also have to play there in the 3rd inning where the ball hit to Marcus Semien. And I'm sorry, that was the 2nd inning. And Lindor going after the ball himself, even though it was on the second base side of the bag. And no chance to get the double play there. So Semien had to take it to second himself. I just don't know what's going on with Francisco Lindor right now. He has just not looked like the Francisco Lindor that we normally know. The one that maybe does not have a great start to his year at the plate, but is usually as sure-handed as they come defensively. Does not make mental mistakes on the base paths or in the field. And we have seen that now on back-to-back days. Yesterday, getting caught between home and third and tagged out. Today on that play. And, of course, really not doing a whole lot at the plate either. Does have the base hit in front of Bo Bichette's homer, so he extended that inning. I'll give him credit there. But overall, just 1 hit on the afternoon in, I believe, 4, maybe 5 at-bats. Yeah, it would have been 5 at-bats. And it's just not good enough, especially with Juan Soto out right now. It's just simply not good enough. Red Horse Adventures, how's Lindor still leading off? What other team in the league has a 150 average? No homers or ribbies there. Manny needs to manage. Stop with the favorites. Would he do it with Ben? Would he do this with Bench? Well, I mean, you answered your own question there. Of course he wouldn't do it with Bench, but Francisco Lindor is one of the top players in Major League Baseball. And we know he's a slow starter, and it's been brutal. But no, he wouldn't do it with Bench because he doesn't have a proven resume and track record the way that Lindor does. And we go through this same song and dance every year. We get on him. We want to move him out of the order. We want to give him a day off. Francisco Lindor needs to get back to being Francisco Lindor. But unfortunately, it just seems that this is part of his game, where he has these slow, hellacious starts at the plate. And unfortunately, yes, it does hurt this team a lot. I'm open to the idea of a lineup change. I'm open to moving him in the order to somewhere else. I don't know what it's going to take. Obviously, it's seemingly only got worse since Juan Soto went down. Without Soto hitting behind him, he's not even drawing walks now. So I'm open to the idea of moving Lindor out of the leadoff spot. But if we're going to have people sit here and try to tell me he shouldn't play, or you think the Mets should have traded him and he's the problem, I get he's having a rough start, but he's still going to get his at the end of the day. He's going to hit his 25 to 30 home runs. He's going to steal his 20 to 25 stolen bases. He's going to give you maybe not Gold Glove defense anymore, but pretty darn close to it. So I'm not making a change other than maybe moving him in the lineup somewhere. I like the idea of Luis Robert leading off. He's done a really good job showing a lot of plate discipline, drawing walks. Maybe put Bichette after Lindor. Bichette's looked a little bit better. So I'm open to that idea. But if we're going to sit here and actually believe that we're a better team without Francisco Lindor on it, you're smoking crack. I don't know how else to say it. And I'm not saying you said that, Red Horse Adventures, but to anyone that does believe that, You're wrong. All right, let me see a couple more here, and then we'll recap a little bit, and I'll share my screen with you guys. But Mark Rapp named Beltran the manager on his number retirement day. Oh, man. By that time, it's September 19th, so if they're naming Beltran the manager, things probably went really, really wrong really fast for Mendy. If he even made it that far, and then they decided to make the change, oh boy, things probably went really, really wrong. Joseph, Lopez, Moya, McNeil came, McNeil saw, and McNeil conquered after being maligned by the Mets. Well said. McNeil, 2 hits yesterday, 3 hits today. I'm just waiting on the homer from him. I don't know when it's going to happen, but you know it is. Cortez, who was never given a chance by the Mets, hits a bomb. No shocker there. And JT Ginn throwing, 6 innings of 1-run ball yesterday? 5 innings, I think. It was a shortened start for him. But Peter X says, as win 4 straight in New York City. You don't say that every day. Oh, A's win 4 straight in New York City. There you go. Yeah. Took 2 of the final 3 with the Yankees, and now the first 2 here of the series with the Mets. Maybe they should just move to New York. Screw Las Vegas. Just have them relocate to New York. We could have 3 teams. Maybe I could change my allegiance. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that. CB24203 says, McNeil has got to be loving this too. Man, the dude looked like he was going to cry yesterday when he came up for his first plate appearance. Got the standing ovation. And, I always had my feelings about Jeff McNeil as a Met, and unfortunately he never did turn into the Met that we wanted him to be after winning the batting title in 2022, but the dude always played his ass off. And as frustrating as he was, and as tiresome as the tantrums in the helmet and equipment throwing would get, the dude wanted to win. The dude wanted to win and play hard, and he played every position the Mets ever asked of him, so nothing but respect for that. Unfortunately, he's sticking it in the Mets' face right now, which really sucks. Edward Aquan, unlucky. If the Mets' arms are methodical, our bats are sleeping until the next game. If the bats are scoring, or at least decent, no quality start for the starting pitcher, or the bullpen's serving up meatballs. I mean, inconsistency at its finest. A team that, for whatever reason, cannot just put together a full game up and down the roster, just like I said, Edward. I'm totally with you, man. Red Horse says, in response to today's bullpen meltdown, the Mets have announced they've re-signed Diggy Lovelady. Hey, I don't know, man. I think, trust me, guys, on this. That is not the last we have seen of Richard Lovelady. He will be back at some point this year. I don't know when. I don't know for how long, but Richard Lovelady, keep that phone by you, man. Keep that suitcase packed. I have a funny feeling you will find yourself in that Citi Field clubhouse once again. I would not be surprised by that at all. Joe Saturn, sorry to see the breaker go. He'll come back as a 2-way player. Who's that are we talking about? The Beaker. The Beaker, right. I forgot who that we were talking about. That looks like that's Richard Lovelady, of course. Looks like Beaker from the Muppets is what some of you guys said the other day. I didn't say it. I'm just saying the chat said it. Let's see. Chris Pritchard says, it looks like the Mets are going through an extended spring training in April. I'm not down yet. I'll wait for May 1st when the Mets season starts, LGM. That is a very healthy way to look at it, Chris. Almost too healthy for a Mets fan. Are you sure you're a Mets fan? Because I don't know about you after that. That is a very, very healthy way to look at it, Chris. It's early. Again, it's not like they're just losing games where you lost 5-3, but you put up a battle. No, this is just catastrophic lately, the way that the team has been imploding in different ways, and that's where my frustration lies. Not that they're 7-8, not that they've lost 4 in a row. It's the fashion in which they have lost these games. I said it last year, and I'm going to break it out today, but I say it kind of tongue-in-cheek. The New York Mets finding new ways to lose since 1962. And they definitely lost in a new way today compared to the other couple losses here in this losing streak right now. Ricardo says, Mendy Midas touch got tested today for sure. I mean, I can't really put any of this game on Mendoza. He pulled Sang at the right time. He went to Brazaban. Brazaban pitched excellent. He got a scoreless inning from Rayleigh, got a scoreless inning from Craig Kimbrell. I mean, you could have, nitpicked at the time why use Rayleigh in what was I believe 7-3 game at that time in the top of the 6th inning. But had the Mets completed this comeback with their bats, you would have said, oh, wow, it's a good thing we used Rayleigh there instead of, we couldn't have, but Richard Lovelady, for example, when he was on the roster. And then, unfortunately, Luke Weaver didn't get the job done, man. Got the first out of the inning, and all turned into crap from that. Base it to the 9-hitter Clark, who was on a couple of times today because, of course, he was. Had that bases-loaded walk off of Senga there in the second inning. I mean, you just can't make this up sometimes. At a certain point, there needs to be individual responsibility for the players to get their jobs done. What was the old saying from Bill Belichick with the Patriots? Do your job. And unfortunately, it seems far too often there's one guy in the most pivotal situation that just doesn't get his job done. And that has led to a lot of losses for the Mets lately. Let's see. Red Horse Adventures. Other than Williams, who in that bullpen is good to go? I can't think of anyone. Tobias has been okay. But, I mean, Weaver had been really good until these last two appearances. I was willing to throw away the one that he had on Thursday when he came in from McLean. He already had two guys on base. That ball probably should have been caught by a legitimate MLB right fielder and not Brett Beatty. And then he had a ground ball to first base where they were breaking on contact, and Mark Vientos spiked that ball. So I'm going to be honest. I don't even hold Weaver's bad appearance against Arizona on Thursday against him. Today, completely inexcusable. This is all on Luke Weaver today. I mean, couldn't put it away with 2 outs. 2-out walk to Kurtz. The base hit to Langoliers, and then the 3-run bomb for the cherry on top. So I still have confidence in Luke Weaver, but today's on him. There's no doubt about that. I still feel good about Williams. He hasn't given up a run, though it hasn't been the cleanest of innings that he's worked lately. Braziban has been really good other than that appearance against the Diamondbacks as well. And, of course, like you said, Tobias Myers. So I'm feeling okay about the bullpen still. Even though, again, you give the blame, of course, from today's loss totally on Luke Weaver. Not the entire loss, but, you know, for his performance there in the 8th inning that put this one totally out of reach. Jose Lopez says, this Mets team reminds me of the 1966 Mets. I don't even know what the 66 Mets looked like, to be honest with you, but bad? Right now, they look kind of bad, the 2026 Mets. AMBR says Lindor and Mendoza and Stearns need to go. You'll be waiting a while before all 3 of those guys are gone. I have a funny feeling. Red Horse says, side note, imagine having to put that ridiculous elephant mask on in a sweltering August afternoon after a homer. I didn't even see those celebrations with a mask, but someone mentioned that in a TikTok live I was doing. The Mets don't have chemistry. The Mets they don't even have a home run celebration. Dude, I don't care about these dopey celebrations. Just go play winning baseball. If that helps, fine. Figure it out. Dress as the Empire State Building or King Kong climbing the Empire State Building after home runs. I don't care. Find a way to start winning some freaking games again. AM, another game, another Lindor blunder. Something's not right with this guy. Something is definitely not. I don't know what's going on, man. It is weird. Lindor does not look like the Lindor that we're used to at all. And I don't know. And in the middle of a 4-game losing streak, I'm not prepared to give him a day off tomorrow. I'm just not. It's not a good time. You got to hope tomorrow's finally going to be the day where he breaks out. So, unfortunately, timing couldn't be worse. 4-game losing streak. Then you head out to LA for the next 3 with the Dodgers with no off days. There's really not a good time right now to just simply say we're going to bench one of our best players because we hope that'll help get him going instead of putting him in the lineup and hoping that he'll just find his way to swim back to shore. Danny Caps, Mets is cursed. Well said. Succinct, to the point. Jose, Mets fans better start a prayer vigil for the Mets when they face the Dodgers. I don't even want to watch that series. Oh, my goodness. I am not looking forward to that series at all. All right, let's take a look, guys. It's a frustrating one, as we know. We're going to listen to some sound from Carlos Mendoza and the rest of the team. But real quick, let's just take a look here at the box score. Lindor, 1 for 5. Like I said, the one hit, at least, you know, it came to extend that 5th inning and give, what's his name, a shot. Bo Bichette, a shot to tie. I'm sorry, I'm all messed up because I'm trying to fix my screen here, guys. Give me a second here. Okay. Yep. Okay. Good. Okay. Look at us. Who's better than us? Anyway, Lindor 1 for 5. Unfortunately, it's just not come together. 167 average, the 546 OPS. It's brutal. There's no way around it. It's just been brutal. Robert with the base hit in this one also drew a walk. He's been excellent to this point. Polanco just 1 hit, but of course it's his first home run as a New York Met, so maybe that'll get him going. Nice to see him back in the lineup despite dealing with the Achilles bursitis that he's had now and probably will be an issue for him all year long. Bichette, very nice day for Bo Bichette. Quietly has really started to bring that average up. It's up to 250 now. We know he could be a 300 hitter if things start getting back on course. But opened the scoring here with an RBI knock, a 2-out RBI base hit in the first inning. Unfortunately, it was very short-lived as Senga coughed 2 right back up to the Athletics there in the top of the second. But then, of course, the 2-run homer for his first as a New York Met. Vientos, another big 0 for, like I said, I believe that makes him now 0 for 15 on this homestand. I don't know, man. There's just something about Citi Field with some of these guys. It just seems like they cannot hit at home. I don't understand it. Francisco Alvarez had an excellent day. One thing I do need to know, what is up with the pass balls with this guy lately? He has led the league in pass balls a couple of times throughout his career, and he has just had so many just simply going in and out of his glove or deflecting off his glove. It ended up advancing a runner. It did cost them a run as a base hit brought him home after that. I don't know what's going on with him defensively, but he's got to improve a little bit. But offensively, a really good day at the plate for Alvarez, who is 2 for 4. But don't forget, first stab out of this game in the second inning, hit a laser beam line drive to left field that was right at Soderstrom. Had another line drive in his next at-bat, again, right at Butler in center field. And then, of course, the home run to center field that Butler couldn't get, and then a base hit to the left side of the infield. So a nice day for Alvarez. Look at that. OPS over 1,000. Really good stuff. Bench slashing one the other way for a base hit. Also drawing a walk in this game. That's a little bit of a positive. Simeon came through with a base hit in what looked like it could have continued to rally there, but unfortunately came up short in the biggest of moments with runners on first and second and 2 outs in the 7th as he flew out a little lazy fly ball off the end of the bat to left field. So base hit, I mean, great, but unfortunately, man, we really need one there in the 7th inning, and he came up small. Tyrone Taylor got pinch hit for with Beatty in this game. He did end up having a hit, though, in his 2 at-bats, and then Beatty with the sac fly there to make this a 7-5 game at one point. So it's brutal. It's brutal. And then in the case of the pitching, Senga, 2 1/3. 7 runs on 8 hits and 2 walks. And of course, I think the biggest thing that really threw his day into complete chaos were those back-to-back walks to the 8 and 9 hitters. Gives up the walk to Cortez, walks Clark to walk in a run with the bases loaded. And then after that, gave up the base hit to not a base hit, but the ball up the middle that Simeon corralled, and Lindor was nowhere to be found at second base, so Simeon took it himself to make it 2-1. And then, of course, the 3rd inning was just a disaster. Double to start from Langoliers, homer from Soderstrom, Wilson and McNeil back-to-back hits, and then the 3-run homer from Carlos Cortez. So outside of that, man, the staff was looking pretty good with Brosvon, 2 2/3, 3 strikeouts, just 2 hits, scoreless relief. Rayleigh, an inning of scoreless relief. Kimbrel gives up 1 hit, but he's able to get out of it, sidestep it with 2 strikeouts. I will credit Alvarez for challenging the strike 3 call there to end that 7th inning with Kimbrel on the mound. So, but then of course Weaver has the inning that he has and just completely puts this one out of reach. So, I mean, I had no need to even talk about Luis Garcia, right? So, anyway, guys, let me go back to the chat. Then we're going to listen to some of the sound from the manager and from the players, see what they have to say. But first, let me go to the chat. Hayden J, hate to say it, Tony, and I know it's only 15 games in, but I'm not seeing much of what Stearns preached about in the offseason. Contact-oriented and run prevention, hoping it changes ASAP. Hayden, great comment. That was excellent. Very well put. That is what David Stearns preached. Run prevention, contact, putting the ball in play, constant pressure on the opposing pitching staff and defense. We saw that a little bit in the opening day, on opening day against the Pirates. We really haven't seen that a whole lot elsewhere, other than that. So I'm with you, man. It's early, and I'm hoping it could turn. It still can, but I haven't seen it to this point very much either. Well said, Hayden. Ray says, Thomas Kai Correa will get the manager's job. Yeah, Kai Correa would most likely, I think, be the guy in line to take over as the manager for the Mets if there is a change with Carlos Mendoza. But I know a lot of people have been saying Carlos Beltran. I think that's highly unlikely, but never know. It's possible, I suppose. Let's see. Hayden asked thoughts on Carson Bench. Looked very overpowered. He's late on 92, 93 fastballs. There was a ball he should have pulled when he flew out in, I believe, the middle of that rally. Yes, in the 7th inning. It was after the Alvarez base hit. It was on the inner half of the plate. Should have pulled it. He was late on it, just like you said, and flew out to left field. So yeah, look, I don't want to get on Bench too much today just because he did go the other way with a base hit today against a lefty. That was impressive. He did draw a walk in the middle of what they were hoping would be a rally there in the 6th inning. That fell short. But yes, he was late on that fastball there in the 7th inning, a ball he should have turned on and pulled to right field, but instead hit a lazy fly ball to left on. So I thought today was actually a pretty positive day for Carson Bench, if I'm being totally honest with you. But we got to see more of that moving forward, more of what we saw today. And obviously, like you said, recognizing those fastballs earlier and knowing what to do with them, whether it's pull or go the opposite way with them. Armand's amazing. Alvin needs to stop pitch framing. Does he know there's an ABS system? Pitch framing not needed. And that could be contributing to why he's having so many balls pop out of his glove like that. Well said, Armand. That could be the case. Yeah, doesn't really need it. Unfortunately, you can't be hyper reliant on ABS because you only get so many challenges. So pitch framing is still important for catchers, but yeah, if that's going to cause him to consistently have these balls popping in and out of his glove and allowing base runners to advance, then somebody needs to get in his ear and tell him, look, don't get so concentrated on that. Like, just catch the ball, right? Ray says, Thomas, with our luck for the Phillies, LOL. Sorry, I missed that. I don't know what Kai Correa for manager. Okay. Danny Camps, don't forget the back-to-back first pitch swings that ended the inning. Yes, that is right. Vientos had a couple of back-to-back first pitch swinging. He did that in the 1st, and he did it again in the 3rd inning. It's been a brutal homestand for Mark Vientos. Just really bad. Not good at all for Mark Vientos. All right, guys, let's listen to some sound from the guys. If we can find any here. I guess it's probably on SMY. But, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. We got about 10 minutes left. Leave a like on this video. I really appreciate that. Go ahead and do that now. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that as well. Daily Mets content, post-game streams after every Mets game. This is another crappy loss, 4th in a row for the Mets. Senga, brutal in the beginning, and then bookended by Luke Weaver's awful appearance out of the pen in the 8th. Let's hear what Mendy has to say about Senga's performance this afternoon.
Didn't have much. Starts with fastball command, and he just didn't have it. He kept going to that sinker just to see if he could can get back on counts or get strikes, but he just didn't have a feel for his pitches. Few fork balls there, ball out of the hand. Just overall getting behind because the command wasn't there.
I mean, I thought his command looked pretty good in the 1st inning. He looked sharp. Even Keith Hernandez said it. But unfortunately, that 2nd inning, I mean, he came back out and just looked brutal. Absolutely brutal. And obviously, we know the rest from there. Let's see. Niners command. Bro, I just got him. What are your thoughts on what? Oh, I don't know what you said. You deleted it now. Ray says, funny, Alvy has the most homers on this team. Yep. 4 homers, most homers on this team, which makes sense with Soto, having missed so much time. But Judy, who's Judy? I don't know who you're talking about there, Niners, but let me know. I'll get back to you. Let's see. Carlos Mendoza about the Mets' mental mistakes. Finally, somebody in the press room asking Mendoza about some of the mental mistakes from this team.
There have been several plays like that from him. At what level is this starting to get maybe a little concerning for you?
We're better than that, and they know that. They'll be the first one that they'll tell you. Making errors and mental mistakes. We're better than that. And we got to fix it. We got to fix it, and we will.
Okay. How? First of all. Second of all, I don't love the answer of him saying, and they'll be the first ones to tell you. That's great that they'll be the first ones to tell you. How about you tell them? How about you tell them that's unacceptable? Not only verbally, but benching. Someone makes a mental mistake. Somebody makes a error. Someone makes some type of mistake like that. Then you could deliver that message by pulling them out of the game or not giving them a start the next day. And it hasn't been anything like no hustling or things like that. We've seen forgetting the outs with Francisco Lindor. We saw Luis Robert a game later forgetting how many outs there were as well, while running the bases. So those are the kinds of things that I believe in a benching. A physical error, you boot a ball, it's going to happen. You don't bench for that. But I need the manager to step up here. I need Mendoza to really show his brass right now. Like, I need to see more from him as a manager and really get in these guys' faces and get them going and not just simply say they know they need to be better than that. I need him to be assertive and show and tell them that they need to be better than that. So I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. Whether that makes a change or a difference or not, I don't know. All right, this is a good one for sure as well. On Francisco Lindor's lapses early in the season, and there have been quite a handful now. I think what we had forgetting how many outs there were against the Cardinals, that same game getting picked off of first while adjusting his oven mitt. We had him not covering second base today. He had him getting picked between third and home yesterday. And I think there's got to be at least one more that I'm forgetting, but that's 4 right off the top of my head. Let's hear what he had to say.
Something up with him as far as just the amount of plays he's had along those lines.
It's weird because this is that's not him. It's hard to explain, and he'll be the first one that he'll tell you that he's got to be better. But yeah, never seen that. Some of those plays that he just out of position at times.
Hey, Carlos, just going off of.
And again, he's going to be the first one to tell you that he has to be better. Have you thought about taking him to the side, saying, "What's going on, man? This ain't like you, and we're going to have to put you on the pine here if we don't figure things out," or just simply, "I'm putting you on the bench today. Take a day. Think about it. We might need you in the 8th or 9th, though. Be ready to have a bat in your hand and go for a big pinch hitting opportunity." Like, there's got to be something, right? Not just they know they should be better. We need them to be better. I'll just read what Senga had to say. I don't want to go through the whole translator thing. He says, "I think the biggest thing is I wasn't able to control very many pitches near the strike zone or over the plate." And then he said, "In times like this, I think it's really important as a starting pitcher to get the team off on the right foot. However, I wasn't able to do that today, so that's very regretful on my end." Man, I don't know. I still love Senga. I just love Senga for some reason. Okay, now let's see. Here's Lindor taking some responsibility for not being at second base on that play.
In the second inning?
I went after the ball, and Marcus was there, and didn't make it at second base, and didn't turn the little play. Just saying could have got the inning right there, and I didn't help him.
Francisco, what happened on that play in the second inning?
Yeah, look, and it was Butler as the leadoff man that hit that ball. He's a speedster, so there's no guarantee they're going to turn that double play anyway. So, look, I don't want to have Lindor beat himself, up for this and just carry it over. But at the same time, he should have been at the second base bag. It's unfortunate, but I'm also not going to fault him because it's not as if he was sitting there with his hands in his pocket at the shortstop hole watching the play go down. He was going after the ball. All right. So I give him a little bit of grace in that regard, right? It's not like a hustle thing. It's not a not knowing how many outs there are thing. He was going after the ball, and it sucks the way that it ended up going, but he's got to be better than that. What else can you say? Lindor, let's see, about pressure being put on himself. Wow, they really spoke a lot about Lindor here, or to Lindor. Let's see what he had to say about putting too much pressure on himself right now.
Defensively, do you feel a little pressure to kind of do more to get things going?
There's always been pressure, and I've always put a lot of pressure on myself because I expect a lot out of myself. So, no, I feel like it's...
All right, so it doesn't feel like there's any added pressure right now. But this is one of the interesting things as far as whether or not that hamate bone and having a, shortened spring training would be something or a reason why he's had such a slow start to the year. Let's just hear what he had to say. Hopefully the volume's a little better on this one.
Find your footing here early in the season?
No, it's not. That's not an excuse. It's just I'm a professional baseball player, and I just got to be better. I got to help this team win.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then the last one we're going to listen to, and then I think we'll wrap it up here, guys. But this one's probably the one that I want to hear the most. This is regarding the Mets and his confidence that this year will be different than 2025 was. Let's hear what Lindor had to say.
To be better, and we will. And then it ultimately didn't happen. So I guess looking at it through that lens, what gives you confidence that this year can and will be different?
It's a different year, and we were one at bat away from turning around today. Just we started putting better at bats as the game went on, but we just didn't finish the job. So it's a different year. You gotta see it from a whole different lens. This is not the same team, and even if it was, it's a new year. We have new opportunities. We just gotta finish the job day in and day out, and I gotta be better.
Well, last year there were
All right. Well, there it is, guys. Gotta be better. Gotta be better. It's a cliche used, I think, all too often now in professional sports. I'm better than that. I gotta be better. We gotta be better. Hopefully being better starts tomorrow because the Mets are staring down the barrel of a really difficult road trip with 3 in LA and then 3 more in Chicago. And that's before they take on the mighty Athletics for the 3rd game in this series finale on Sunday, where they'll look to avoid getting swept for the first time this year and look to avoid having a 1-5 homestand at Citi Field. Aren't you glad that you sat out there in that 40-degree weather and those 20-mile-per-hour winds and watched the Mets get their teeth kicked in by the Athletics and the Diamondbacks? Yikes. Real quick, let's look at the chat here. We got Niners Command. Just got him, bro. What are your thoughts on what Pedro said? Pedro Martinez talking about the chemistry, saying the Mets don't have it. I mean, look, Pedro doesn't know any more than we do as fans. Maybe a little bit more from some inside sources potentially, but this is a new team. We don't truly know. And as frustrated as I have been, and as a lot of us have been in this chat here today, there's no reason why this team can't still turn out to be one of the better teams in all of baseball. We've seen some glimpses. Unfortunately, right now we're riding a really down part of a wave. So I'm not buying too much stock into what Pedro said. Let's hope that everything from last year as far as personalities and chemistry has been vanquished, and that this is a new group that will find its footing, but they're just going through some growing pains. I don't know, but let's hope that's the case. So I don't buy too much into what Pedro had to say about that. Red Horse Adventures, Mendoza defects and lays it on them instead of I want or I need or I expect, as the leader men should say, in my opinion. All right, I like that, Red Horse. And I referenced Terry Collins before. Nobody but more demanding of his group and got more out of a group that was probably not very talented than Terry Collins did in his tenure as the manager of the New York Mets. So I've always liked that fiery, rah-rah type of guy. That's just not who Mendy is, unfortunately. He is trained classically by the New York Yankees and Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman as far as dealing with the New York media, and this is just who he is. So you have to hope that behind the scenes, these conversations are happening and trying to change these things. But we need to see it now actually play out on the field. And unfortunately, for nearly the full last calendar year, going back to the second half collapse of 2025, I have not seen too much evidence of change. So let's hope that does happen soon. Ray, Lindor, we started off with the... It's like one of those, kind of crutches that we as humans often have. I say brutal a lot. You have no idea how many times I say brutal. I'm sure you do, but when I rewatch these streams, I always notice it. I'm like, I got to find a new word. So it's a crutch for some people. But Miguel says the Mets suck. It's that simple. Stop making excuses. All right, Miguel. Excellent contributions to the stream here today. Tony, how do you feel about Alvy hitting in the top 4? He's going to continue to work his way up. I mean, the dude leads the team in home runs with 4. So we saw him in the 6th hole today, and I believe that he's going to continue to creep his way up if he keeps hitting the way that he is right now. So Vientos, Beatty, they haven't done a whole lot lately. So wouldn't hate seeing Alvarez behind Bichette hitting cleanup today, right? And maybe you do that same lineup tomorrow and you drop Vientos or Beatty, whoever's going to get in there, to the 6th hole. So I do not dislike that idea at all, Thomas. Guys, we're not even going to preview tomorrow's game because all I'm going to say is it's a must-win. Like, it's not a must-win in the case of the Mets' playoff hopes are dependent on it, but my mental health, and I know a lot of your guys' mental health, is surely dependent on it prior to departing for the West Coast for a 3-game road trip or series to begin their road trip with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So, guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in, whether it was on Twitter, whether it was here on YouTube. Leave this video a like. I really appreciate it. If you're watching on Twitter, go over to my YouTube channel. Link to that is on my Twitter profile. You can subscribe for daily Mets content. post-game stream after every Mets game. Really appreciate you guys being here, but other than that, I think we're going to wrap it up. Mets lose this one. Another tough one, 4th in a row, final score of 11-6. They have dropped back-to-back series and will look to salvage the series finale tomorrow against the Athletics. That is going to do it for now, though, guys. Until next time, I'm Tony Metro. Stay true to the orange and blue.